What's happening, guys? My name's Dan Rogers. I am a coach with Just One Dime, and today we're going to be going over the 4 most critical areas of your Amazon FBA business. You guys are going to learn about a ton of different things as you go on your Amazon journey, as you build your business, but there are some critical areas that you really want to focus on and just have in mind, even if you're at the very beginning. And actually the last couple points are going to be super important for those of you who are further along with your business. 4 things that you want to get right. So this is all about keeping your eye on the prize. And the reason this is so important is when you do feel overwhelmed or spread a bit thin, you're doing too much at once, you're going to be able to separate the critical urgent tasks from those that are not so critical. Here are the 4 most crucial parts of your business. Number 1 is product research and development. Number 2 is product launch and marketing. Number 3 is inventory management and PPC optimization. And number 4 is cash flow management and scaling. If you're a master of all those skills or have a team that masters all those skills, then you are set to consistently release profitable products and scale in a profitable way. But it is important to move sequentially. These areas are named in order of importance and also progression. For example, if you don't have an excellently selected and developed product, there's no point in launching it. You could have the best launch plan on earth that no one else even knows about, and it's not going to matter if you're launching the wrong product. In other words, you always want to move through these sequentially. Another case here would be managing inventory. That's not going to be important at all until you actually have inventory to manage. In short, focus on now. If you're at the very beginning, you should only be concerned with number 1 for now. Don't concern yourself or overwhelm yourself with thoughts of number 2 or 3 or 4 here. You might be sitting right now with products that are selling and feeling like you don't have much to do. You might be in a waiting period. For example, some of you can't send inventory right now. Start thinking about these 4 areas because they're all important. Until you've optimized all of these, there really shouldn't be just like complete downtime. So let's break each of these down. Product R&D. So the R in R&D stands for research, specifically product research. And during your product research, you want to think about sell price levels. Now there's far too much to cover here, but I'm going to give you a couple cool points that you can take away and use today. We're going to use the US as an example here because it's the most common marketplace where most of you sell. In the US, we do recommend at this point looking at higher priced items and looking at products at an absolute minimum sell price of $25, and I would even recommend going above $30. But sell price is important. The higher that sell price, the more profit you're probably going to see long term, and you're going to thin out competition dramatically. Demand. So any product you look at, you want to look at that market for that product and how much is being purchased. For example, if you want to sell 500 units a month in the US, you need to look at the current market and find evidence that competitors are selling 500 units a month or 15 units per day, whichever metric you want to use. I would recommend trying to find 5 competitors on page 1, each doing over 500 sales a month. That shows you there's a lot of long-term sales to be made there, and you too could make 500 sales a month or more. Sales spread and brand loyalty. Here, you're looking to make sure those sales are happening across the market. So when you enter, you can take a piece of that pie. One way to do this in terms of sales spread is to make sure, okay, we do have 5 different competitors on page 1 doing those sales numbers. It's not all happening with one seller, one competitor, one brand. The second is brand loyalty. You want to ensure less than half your top competitors, a top competitor is any competitor selling over 10 units a day generally. You want to make sure less than half of them have the same brand name. Otherwise, this is a brand dominated market and you want to avoid it. And market entry. So when we talk about market entry, how easy is it for you to enter this market and start making sales? And what we look for here is reviews versus sales numbers. So for example, you might want to see that on page 1, at least 3 sellers are each selling over 300 units a month, and each of them also have less than 100 reviews on those listings. That's a way of saying, okay, the customers are willing to accept lower review offerings, maybe one of them has like 30 reviews and they're doing over 300 sales a month, the customers accept that, and that way when we enter with low reviews, we can expect good sales in the immediate term, in the short term. On the other hand, if you do not see that, and anyone doing over 300 sales has like 300 reviews, that's a problem for you, because it's going to take you quite a long time to get to 300 reviews, and that's how you vet market entry. Differentiation potential. So differentiation, obviously absolutely critical, and if your product doesn't pass this test, you may as well move on. So you want to get to this test relatively quickly. Do not improve products how you want to improve products. Improve products how customers want those products improved. How do you know how they want it improved? Look at reviews. I know you're probably saying, I've heard about review research, but it's critical. You need to make sure that problem or that opportunity, what they wish it had, is mentioned often and across listings. The more often you see that, the more important that problem or that opportunity is for your customers. And you want to be choosing the most important thing to fix or way to improve this product. Again, some products won't have problems, or they won't have problems you can fix. Some products won't be able to be bettered yet or in a significant visual way. That's the other key here. Visual changes much more important than non-visual changes. So when people go online, it's all visual. So if you change something that you can express visually, that's going to be much more efficient for you, and it's going to have much more power than a non-visual change in terms of actually driving conversion and turning into sales. Product size. Now you can go bigger or smaller, etc., but in the US we generally recommend 18 by 14 by 8 inches maximum product sizes and under 4.75 pounds. There's a lot to go into there as well that we cover in the Amazon FBA Mastery course, but that's a really good guide to go with. If you go bigger or smaller, or even with those, always calculate your FBA fees down to the cent and take into account dimensional product weight. Very important for North America. And seasonality, winter, summer, etc. Do you want sales all year, or are you doing a complete reverse strategy where you're trying to sell products only in one season because everyone's doing evergreen sales? This again is totally up to you, but it is something you want to check using BSR charts over the past year. You have to check them historically over a full year, because a full year is going to include all the seasons and give you a good picture of that. So depending on your strategy, you can choose seasonal or non-seasonal products here. And profitability, the most important one, also the most boring one to calculate, but the most exciting one when it actually happens. So in the US market, you're looking for a 40% profit margin before considering PPC or marginal storage fees. A 40% margin is going to give us a bit of room for PPC and storage fees, but that's what you want to calculate. Again, tons to go into there, so I'm not going to cover it fully. Basically, taking your sell price minus manufacturing, shipping, FBA fees, Amazon referral fees, and that gives you $1 profit per unit. You divide that by your sell price and times it by 100, and you have your profit margin. You're making sure that this is a worthwhile venture. This is another critical, but it's good that it's an emotional or non-emotional test if you should move with this product or move on to your next ideas. So I do want to stress, we cover these in depth in the Fine course. In fact, I just finished filming a massive 40-minute version of this just for North America, and then we also have a Europe version, but we cover this super in depth in Amazon FBA Mastery. But we did want to give all of you some actionable steps, and I'm sure you're going to pull 1 or 2 tips out of this that you're going to use for the long term. So still on product R&D, the D obviously stands for development, aka product building. And here you want to find a reliable supplier. Finding reliable suppliers is key, and when you do, these people are your greatest assets in terms of coming up with new ideas and actually putting them together and bringing them to life. So if you have a good supplier, always nurture that relationship. Often they're going to be very, very good business partners. So you want to find a supplier, and this person you're going to work with in terms of actually bringing your product to life. That might be on WeChat or Skype or WhatsApp, etc. But I would avoid Alibaba chat because it's a little bit slow and frustrating. That said, Alibaba is always where you should be paying for your orders from Alibaba suppliers, but I'm just talking in terms of communication. Those other channels are great for sharing video and pictures and just for fast, easy communication. But at this stage is also when you're going to do your differentiation. So can you actually bring your idea to life? Sometimes this is a pretty quick process, maybe 2-3 weeks. Other times it's 2-3 months. I had one product, I think we worked on that for 3 months before I actually placed the order. Now another thing people get concerned with is the supplier a scammer? In what I just said, I think you're going to figure out if they're a scammer or not, because a scammer is not going to work with you for 3 months on something before you even paid for it. Most of the time, Alibaba suppliers, specifically gold suppliers, and those with good transaction history are going to be amazing people to work with. So use Alibaba, get a list of suppliers together, vet them each, and then choose one who really comes across strongly as being a good business partner and someone you can work with. Even if their price is slightly more, if their communication's quick and they just gel with you, you feel like you could work with this person, go with that one. That's probably going to be a great relationship. And then from here, you've also got to do your logistics. How do you get the product from China to the Amazon warehouse, wherever that is? And that you can do using your supplier or using your own freight forwarder or using something called Freightos.com, where you can get air and sea shipping quotes really easily. So after product R&D, you need to make this visible. And the way you're going to do that is with a product launch. Now, the best way to enter a market is with a splash. Currently, some of the best strategies for launching products and getting them off the ground are chatbots and coupons. I'm going to leave a really special link in the description below if you're more interested in the chatbot option here. So make sure you check that out. The Amazon Vine program. Here you must be brand registered. Your listing must have less than 30 reviews. But once enrolled, you can get up to 30 reviews with this program. If you're not brand registered, you also have Amazon Early Reviewer program. Again, doesn't require registry, but it costs $60 per SKU that you enroll, and you can get up to 5 reviews with it within 1 year. Amazon actually offers a $3 gift card to customers who leave you a review based on this program. Then there is the request a review button, which is really cool. This is something you find in your orders page in the back end of Seller Central. It's a way to contact customers. They get an email that's really easy and fast for them to leave you feedback. There's ways to do this manually. There's ways to automate this as well. Now, while I do recommend you build your own social media audience, even if it's an Instagram audience and you build it up to 1,000 followers, I do recommend you build an audience somewhere. It could be Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, etc. Or what you could do is also pay influencers, people who already have this audience. And that's a great way to get in front of very targeted audiences with your product at launch. And of course, PPC. Probably one of the more complex ones because it differs in every single market, but this is an excellent way to put yourself at the top of results. You got a great product, but no ranking, no organic ranking. You pay for that ranking. You put it at the top of results. This is a critical part of the process because at this point, the market is going to tell you yes or no. If you've optimized the main images, you have split test main images, and you're running it at the top of page 1 for your main keywords, and you are not seeing sales, that is not a good sign. If you are seeing a ton of sales when you do that, then you've done this right. Because by every time you make a sale here for your sponsored listing, your organic listing's moving up those results. And when you get that organic listing to page 1, you can stop the ad because customers don't care if that's sponsored or organic. They're just looking for the product. So when that's organically on page 1, you should keep making sales just like you did with the ad, and you're going to continually maintain that ranking so long as you keep making those sales. So it's a really good test. There's a lot that goes into PPC and optimization, but very important for launching your product. Now, in FBA Mastery, you can find a link to that below. In the launch course specifically, we do go over the systems you want to have in place for this. We're actually currently updating some of this as well. These are all TOS compliant methods to launching your product. And of course, we also cover PPC advertising methods and how you can do this differently for different markets in order to boost your product's visibility and drive those sales. And on to inventory management and PPC optimization. First, managing inventory. Probably one of the most difficult tasks for any Amazon seller. Once you have a really good idea of your actual daily sales and what your lead time is, you can work this out relatively easily. Look at this equation here. Your lead time, let's say that was 60 days to manufacture and ship, times your daily sales, so how many you're currently selling per day. Let's say we're selling 10 per day, and then we just add any safety stock. Let's say we want 100 units of safety stock. So we times that out. 60 times 10 is 600 plus 100 of safety stock, so 700. 700 is going to be our reorder point. If you look at the example here, they did a 50-day lead time with 10 daily sales and 200 of safety stock. They also got a 700 reorder point. What this means is when your inventory in Amazon's Manage Inventory page gets to 700, you have to reorder at that point with your supplier. Obviously, that helps you stay in stock, and that helps you preserve keyword ranking, your BSR, and just keep your ad costs much lower because you're not having to relaunch the product every time you go out of stock. Now, it sounds easy, but this is much harder in practice, but this is something you do want to work out and stick to. And on the PPC side, once you have more keyword data, in other words, you've been running these PPC ads and pulling the PPC reports off of Amazon, you're now going to be able to actually optimize those campaigns. And as you optimize the campaigns, you're lowering your ad spend and boosting up profitability. Remember, as we said, this is usually going to start to happen as you organically rank on page 1. But with PPC in general, this is what you're doing. You're casting a broad net in the beginning. So pretend it's like a pond full of fish. You're casting this broad net in the beginning, and then you're figuring out where in this pond are most of the big fish, and then you're going to narrow that net and you just focus on this section of the pond, not the other areas which are not profitable. So that's kind of how PPC works at a very high level. Now, markets do differ, but generally, here's one approach you could use. After you actually figure out what works best for your product, you figure out the best part of the pond, you move towards an exact match campaign only for the keywords that work for your product. This way you're minimizing the wastage, etc. But again, it does differ, and some products even have amazingly profitable automatic campaigns. So it does differ, but that's one way of thinking about this and doing this. And onto cash flow management. So another issue is cash flow problems. Managing cash flow is important, and there's two immediate ways you can minimize these problems. Number one, don't expand too quickly. Remember, every ASIN has a kind of startup cost. It's got, of course, product research, but then you've also got to find suppliers, do listings, do images, do copy. There's a lot involved. So don't expand too quickly. Manage your cash flow and focus on one product at a time. Make that product great. Move on to order 2 of the same product, and then consider expanding. If you expand too quickly, you could quickly run into cash flow problems. You're not actually able to pay the 30% down payments on reorders. So you end up tarnishing maybe a great first product to try and launch the next 2 products too quickly. So move a bit slower, expand a bit slower. Number 2 is negotiate the right payment terms with suppliers. At minimum, it should be a 30% upfront cost and a 70% after production before shipping cost. That way you're able to manage your cash flow a lot better. I've managed to even get this to 15% upfront, I think. And what you're doing in essence is you're trying to collect money from sales from Amazon as quick as you can, and you're trying to pay for inventory as late as you can. And that way you're going to decrease the likelihood of having these cash flow problems. And lastly is scaling. So once you have one product up, you're going to want to build out your store. Again, in time. Don't do this too quickly. But once you are at this point, you might take an existing product to a new Amazon market, maybe from the US to Europe. You might take an existing product into retail. You might add new products to that same product line and you begin building out that same brand. Or you might start a new product line, maybe a totally different product, totally different niche, totally different brand. But in all of these, having effective inventory and cash flow management is going to aid this expansion. So to summarize, these are the 4 most crucial aspects of your business. Number 1 is product research and development. Number 2, product launch and marketing. Number 3, inventory management and PPC optimization. And number 4, cash flow management and scaling. Master these 4 areas and you're going to put yourself in a tiny pool of Amazon FBA sellers. Now, if you want help mastering all 4 of these, remember, check out the link in the description. There's a link there to Amazon FBA Mastery. We would love to have you guys join us as well if you're not already a part of the community, because I do hope this gave you some extra tips, some things to think about, maybe somewhere you noticed, actually, I haven't optimized that in my business, and you start taking action on that. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video.